Girl, stop playing.
Welcome back to another episode of the Girl Stop Playing podcast. It's your favorite homegirl, Koereyelle, here to encourage you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. You already know that I believe you can make the money and you can get the honey. You can have it all as long as you are willing to work. And it's my goal to bring you the information and the conversations to help you do just that. Now, this week I am back for another soul-snatching solo episode, but since we are just a few days out from the release of my third book, Nobody is Coming to Save You, I wanted to share with you all another Save Yourself strategy. So, before we get into it though, definitely have to remind you that the wait list is open so that you can be the first to get your hands on my brand new book when it drops on November 17th. If you happen to be listening to this replay and it's already past November 17th, then make sure you grab a copy of the book. You are not going to want to miss these stories of inspiration, but not just inspiration and encouragement. It's truly a resource if you are feeling down and out, if you are feeling lost, if you are feeling like you are giving up on the faith that you once had in the future that you know God has for you, if you are feeling like you have been forgotten about, if you are feeling like you are going through something that you just don't know how to get yourself out of, then trust me when I say this book is going to encourage you, it's going to inspire you, and it's going to be a roadmap for how you can pull yourself up, pick up the pieces, put those pieces back together, and start living a purpose-driven life. So let's get into a Save Yourself strategy. In order to truly achieve your goals, whether it's starting a business, writing a book, healing your relationship with money, redefining success, or incorporating self-care into your life, you will need to have a clear and focused vision of your desired outcome. Goals that manifest are usually the ones that are accompanied with a perception of the end result. So, if you're ready to save yourself, develop new habits, behaviors, and beliefs, you'll need to first intentionally visualize the life you wish to materialize. I compare goal setting to using a GPS system like Google Maps on your phone. When you know exactly where you want to go and you enter the accurate location in your device, the GPS system is then able to navigate you towards your ideal destination. But if you enter the wrong address, or if you enter street instead of drive or boulevard instead of avenue, you will end up in a completely different location. You might arrive in the right neighborhood, you might even be in the right area, but you won't be at your desired destination. This example comes from personal experience. During a trip to Los Angeles, my friend, who was in charge of the directions, when she was entering the address to our hotel, she ended up putting in Northwest instead of Southwest, and we ended up 40 minutes away from our intended destination. We were on the right street, but on the opposite end of it. So in essence, I guess you could say we were close. However, we did not arrive at the place we had in mind. When you're not clear about what you want or where you're going, you will often miss your target. So step one in goal setting is defining your goal. Napoleon Hill refers to this as your chief definite aim. It's the ultimate path and the ultimate thing that you want to achieve. When I taught elementary school, we called this backwards design. It's when you plan with the end in mind. So instead of trying to figure out which step to take first, you should focus first on what you think you want in the first place. Like, decide what you want, and then you can work backwards to get it. Once you have the big picture in mind, then you can figure out the action steps necessary to get to where you want to go. Step one is all about defining your goal. If you've never read a Napoleon Hill book or watched his videos on YouTube, Put that down on your to-do list. As a teacher, I would also teach my students how to create SMART goals. SMART is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So let's get specific. What is the exact destination of your dreams? If you had to pinpoint it, what would it be? If you're unsure, here are a few questions that you could ask yourself in order to figure it out. Number 1, ask yourself, what would you do with $1 million? What would you buy? What would you spend your time doing if you had $1 million? Number 2, ask yourself, if you had just one more year of life to live, what would you start doing today? What would you be doing more of if you knew you only had one more year of life? Number 3, what do you like the most in the world? What do you like doing the most in the world? What makes you happy? What makes you smile? We always talk about things we don't like, but we don't stop to think about what actually makes us happy or what actually makes us feel good. Once you decide what you want, then decide how you'd like to achieve your goal. For instance, if you desire fame, what is it you like to be known for? What would you want your mark on this world to be? What do you want to be known for achieving in this life? And lastly, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? If failure was not an option, what would you set out to do? And you got to get specific. In order for it to be a SMART goal, it also has to be measurable. How will you know when you've achieved your goal? Will you have a certain number of new clients? Will you have a certain amount of money in the bank? Will you have a particular credit score? Will you have a certain number of investment properties? If you cannot track your progress, it is not a SMART goal. You have to set a finish line for yourself. If you don't make it measurable, then you will not have any way of knowing that you've achieved it. Next, your goal must be attainable. Do you have control over it? Is the goal reasonable enough to be achieved? Do you even believe that you can achieve it? Because if you don't have faith, you are not going to achieve a single thing. Do you actually believe that you can have what you say you want? Belief in what you're pursuing makes the biggest impact in your ability to achieve your goal. Every other part of goal setting means nothing if you don't believe that you can actually achieve it. I truly believe that faith creates opportunities. You get what you expect. So when you expect nothing but positive results, you are going to get nothing but positive results. In order for your goals to be SMART, they must also be relevant. Ask yourself, is this goal worthwhile? Is this goal worth your time? Will achieving this goal actually meet your needs? Your goal has to be beneficial to you, and it should be something that you look forward to so that it compels you to give it your all in order to achieve it. People who start businesses based on the success of others are never going to be able to sustain authentic success for themselves. You have to come up with a goal that is aligned with your ultimate goal in life, your purpose, and your passion. Ultimately, your goal should be something that you actually want to do, something that is actually going to make you happy and is relevant to your purpose in life. Lastly, in order to be a SMART goal, the things you are working to achieve in your life must have a time frame. Don't be afraid to dream your wildest dream, and don't shy away from setting a time frame for when you'd like to achieve your goals. I remember this time when I photoshopped. This sounds crazy, y'all, but I really did it. When I photoshopped a picture of myself onto an Essence magazine, and I wrote out my goal of having a full page spread inside of that publication. I wrote down how excited I was going to be, how it was going to feel when the magazine came out, and how the world was finally going to see all of the work that I had been putting in. Not only did I dream in full color, but I went so far as to put a date on it. I wrote September 2013. So September rolled around and I still hadn't received my glorified feature invitation from Essence magazine. I thought to myself, what the hell? I knew at that point that I had two choices, and this is where it got tricky. I could have been disappointed, let fear set in, and even give up on the goal. Or I could choose faith and believe that although I had a deadline in mind, God's timeline was going to be perfect. So October rolled around and I was working on a documentary called For the Love. It was a documentary about love in the Black community. The director wanted to talk to different people who had platforms, organizations, or special stories that aligned with their theme. I was selected as a featured guest to share about the Single Wives Club, which was a business that I had at the time, and the work that we were doing to prepare women for healthy relationships with themselves and their future spouses. After filming, I received a call from Sharia Jackson, who was the relationships editor at the time for Essence magazine. The director of the documentary told her about me, my club, and our upcoming event. We were doing Single Wives Weekend at the time. So she just happened to be scheduled for travel to Atlanta the same weekend as Single Wives Weekend and wanted to speak at my event, y'all. So my response, of course, was hell yes. Of course you can speak at my event. I had set the intention for a feature in Essence magazine, and their relationship editor reached out to me out of the blue because we were taping for the same random documentary we both just happened to be a part of. The director of that documentary just so happened to mention my name, tell her about my upcoming event. She happened to be coming to Atlanta the exact weekend of my very first Single Wives Weekend, and she just so happened to have availability in her schedule to come and speak at my conference for free. That's the type of God that I serve. Now, if that's not a blessing, I don't know what is. Then a few weeks after my event, she reached out again. This time, she was calling me to have me check my email. She had such a great time at my event, and she was excited to write about it in her column. Fast forward to December 2013, she called me to inform me that she was working on a single Black female feature for her 2014 February issue, and she thought I would be perfect for it. I went back to my photoshopped makeshift cover, and I was in astonishment of how I had manifested the opportunity just by setting a SMART goal for myself. I had faith that I could actually attain my goal. And when the issue came out, I didn't know if I was going to have a little tiny section in the middle of a page or whether it was going to be just a quote with my name. So I was completely shocked and totally surprised to see a full page spread, just like I had written down on my goal card. That is what God will do when you have faith in yourself. That is what your unshakable faith does in your life. September was the deadline that I set for this goal. It was the time frame that I had established for my goal. But that didn't mean that my faith was going to run out in September. We have to remember that while we are setting goals and while we are making timelines, that God's timing is always perfect. Understand that although a time frame is necessary for a SMART goal, you have to have faith that even if the timing is a bit off, everything happens in divine order. So as you follow all of these goal-setting guidelines, you should have a definite chief aim. And although setting SMART goals sets you up for success, doing the work is what gets you there. You have to actually do the work, because if you don't do the work, you're just wishing. One of my mottos is that you can wish for it or you can work for it. Doing the work is about taking action. The best way to ensure productivity is taking any action towards your goals. So while you are working to establish goals to achieve professional success, don't overlook the personal work you may need to embark on in order to become your best self. There is no real honor in being a professional success and a personal mess. In fact, your mess will eventually catch up to you and compromise your professional achievements. So it's best to work on yourself as you pursue your career goals. So, in terms of your personal development goals that may not necessarily meet the SMART goal guidelines, I want you to come up with some personal goals. Make a to-do list and come up with 5 things that you need to get done in your life personally. This can include breaking unhealthy habits, finally making the doctor's appointment that you've been pushing off, starting the process to write your book, or maybe it's finally signing up for therapy. Write out 5 personal goals and then follow it up with 5 steps that you can take today to pursue them. Next, I want you to create a to-be list. This list requires that you come up with 5 desired characteristics that you want to incorporate in your life. Do you want to be more loving? Do you want to be happier, more peaceful, fearless? Maybe you want to be a little bit more spontaneous, more courageous, more adventurous, more confident. Do you need to be more optimistic, more understanding, or more thoughtful? Come up with 5 things that you want to be more of, and then work on doing those things and becoming those things. Then I want you to write a new affirmation. The reason that I want you to write 1 instead of 5 is because in order for an affirmation to really work, in order for you to actually believe it, it has to feel real to you. It has to be relatable, and it has to be aligned with what you want in life. I want you to create a new I am statement that is aligned with your new mindset, your new goal, and your new lifestyle. For example, if you desire to become more loving, you may write something along the lines of, I am loving, therefore I receive love. If it's optimism that you're after, you may say, I am optimistic, therefore I am open to new opportunities. Come up with an affirmation that represents the person that you want to become, and soon you will be her. Last but certainly not least, I want you to survey your circle. Who is in your corner that keeps it real with you? Who can you trust 100%? Who can you trust to be 100% honest with you, even when it might hurt your feelings? Whose opinion do you actually respect the most, who has achieved some level of success in their personal or professional life? You need people in your life who are going to hold you accountable and those you can trust with your dream. People who you can believe when they tell you, girl, you got to get it together. People who you know are not hating on you. People who you know will make you be accountable to yourself and will make you choose the best possible choice at all times. Survey your circle and make sure you have people that are close to you who you can trust to have your back when things get tough. People who will encourage you and empower you to be your best self. If you put these practices in place in your life, I promise you, you will begin to change for the better. You will begin to live a life full of love while doing the things that you love. If you continue to focus just a little bit more energy and time on your goals, on your dreams, and on your desires, you will be living the life you've been dreaming of in no time. So, get clear about what you want, who you want to be, how you want to feel, and what you want to do, and then start working towards it. Set your SMART goals because it ain't nothing to it but to do it. This is just one of the Save Yourself strategies that you'll get access to inside of my brand new book, Nobody is Coming to Save You. It's a series of inspirational stories from women who are just like you, who have been through some of the things that you might currently be going through, and who can provide you with a source of inspiration of what is possible when you choose you and decide to go after your dreams. Make sure you check the show notes below to get on the wait list so that you can be the first person to get your hands on the hard copy when it drops on November 17th. I hope this is leaving you encouraged, empowered, and inspired. I love you. See you on the next episode.